Welcome to NFL News Update, where touchdowns meet headlines. Stay in the game with the freshest NFL updates. This is your quick dive into football fervor.
Minnesota Vikings tight end TJ Hockenson has spent the past 5 months thinking about the season-ending knee injury he suffered late in the 2023 season. His takeaway: vulnerable offensive players are not protected the way they need to be. Hockenson suffered a torn ACL and MCL in his right knee during the Vikings' Week 16 game against the Lions. It was hard enough that the injury came against his former team on a hit delivered by his former teammate, safety Kirby Joseph. But the fact that it occurred so late in the year, Hockenson now could miss the start of the 2024 NFL season. Obviously, I wasn't too happy about it, he said at the start of Lions' voluntary offseason workout on Monday via ESPN. Hockenson believes there's a double standard at work with the current NFL rules, with offensive players often flagged for low cut blocks but defensive players able to hit ball carriers at the knee or below. Neither the hit by Joseph on Hockenson nor the one Joseph delivered on the Rams' Tyler Higbee a few weeks later in the playoffs were flagged for a penalty. "It's tough," Hockenson said. "It really is. We're big guys running through the middle of the field. This is a business, and I don't think anyone goes out on the field wanting to injure a player like that. So I'm looking at the light of that and hoping that's not what the intent was, to injure a player in that sense. But I think to have it happen a couple weeks later, with Higbee, I think that's something the league needs to look and see what it can do." Although Hockenson didn't suggest his former teammate Joseph was intentionally trying to hurt him on the play, the tight end feels something needs to change, ideally where players can also help players out. "I know Kirby pretty well," Hockenson said. "I've played with him. I don't necessarily think it was intended to injure. You go back on the tape and you see what happened. I know him. I don't think it was. I just want to make sure it wasn't, and that's why I'm using my voice here. Players protect players. That's in any facet of the league. You don't want a defensive guy headhunting or knee hunting, and the same thing for an offensive guy." Hockenson said he even wishes Joseph went too high on the hit as opposed to too low, even at the risk of suffering a concussion. "That puts me out 2 weeks or 3 weeks, Hockenson said. "This put me out 9 months. I can't even train. I would have had a normal offseason getting ready for the season. I know some concussions are worse than others, and I don't want to go down that train of what's worse and what's better. But I've had a concussion. It took me a week. I'm just looking at it from that pure timetable." There's no clear timetable for Hockenson's return to the field. A 9-month recovery period would have him back in late September or early October. Hockenson, 26, turned in career highs in receptions, 95, and receiving yards, 960, catching 5 touchdowns as well despite missing 2 games last season. Raiders' Max Crosby healthy again. "I'm feeling better than I ever have. The upcoming season is always a big season for everyone in the NFL because it's the next campaign. But for Las Vegas Raiders star edge rusher Max Crosby, it means a little more. After fighting through a knee injury, Crosby is back to 100% and as optimistic as ever entering his first full year under head coach Antonio Pierce. "Recovery and rehab has been incredible," Crosby said on Monday. "I just did my conditioning tests last week and smashed it. And I'm feeling better than I ever have, so it's been an incredible offseason so far." If he didn't admit it, you might have never known Crosby was hurt in 2023. He set new career-high marks in sacks, 14.5, tackles, 90, and tackles for loss, 23, earned his 3rd Pro Bowl nod, and garnered a second-team All-Pro selection, and did so without much of a running mate opposite him. Crosby played in all 17 games too, even while it required frequent additional medical attention. Still, that didn't stop him. "I was definitely banged up," said Crosby, who underwent knee and hand procedures this offseason. "My knee was an issue, but I was able to play. I definitely don't want to do that again and go through that. Draining it multiple times every week, it was a pain in the ass. But we made it through, so it was even more motivation when people were like, 'Shut it down, shut it down, shut it down.' I was like, no, I'm not like everybody else. To be completely honest, I just had to keep moving." With the knowledge Crosby was playing on a knee requiring weekly drainage, his 2023 accomplishments are that much more impressive. And now, he has a new sidekick in defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, Las Vegas Big Ticket Free Agent Edition. Crosby is eager to play with Wilkins, but isn't going to make any rash declarations at this point. He knows games aren't won in free agency. Potential is one thing, action is another, Crosby said. For us, it's about the work. We have a ton of work to do. Me and Christian haven't played a single snap together. We haven't done a single rep together. At the end of the day, we got a ton of work to do. I've said it many times, Christian is a great player. I've been watching Christian and seeing his career from afar for a long time. I'm fired up to get to work with him. With the 2024 NFL Draft just 10 days away, Wilkins might not be the last addition to Las Vegas defensive front this offseason either. And regardless of what the Raiders do at the end of the month, fans of the silver and black should already feel better about their chances with a fully healthy Crosby ready to resume terrorizing opposing offenses.